Hello, and welcome to Think Again, a place where we don't just search for answers, but confront profound questions about life. Today, I want you to ask yourself one thing. Have you ever felt like you're stuck? Stuck between memories that can never be changed and a future filled with worries you can't control? Have you ever found yourself trapped in the past, or fearing what's to come, forgetting that the only thing you truly have the power to change is the present? This is the pivotal moment. We can choose to live in fear of the things that haven't happened yet, or we can choose to act right now in this very moment. So what will you do? Let Think Again guide you to a new path, one of self-awareness, transformation, and true happiness. We live in a world where time seems to fly faster than ever before. Every second, every minute, slips by in a rush, consumed by work, unachieved goals, and the worries of the future. But have you ever asked yourself, are you truly living in each moment, or are you letting time pass you by as you dwell on what's already happened or fear what's to come? The truth is, the past is gone, and the future has yet to come. We cannot change what has already happened, nor can we control what is to come. But we have something invaluable that few truly recognize, the present. It is only in this moment that we can create change, take action, and move forward. But here's the problem. Too many of us are still caught up in the cycle of anxiety over the future or regret for what has passed. We often let ourselves get swept up in endless thoughts. We spend our whole lives chasing dreams that haven't come true, regretting decisions we can never undo, while failing to realize that it's this very moment, the one we're in right now, that holds the power to change everything. Action in the present moment is the only true power we have. Not the things we've done in the past, not the worries about the future. Only the actions we take right now can shape our future. But that doesn't mean you have to do something grand immediately. Action doesn't always have to be monumental. Sometimes the smallest steps lead to the most profound changes. Have you ever tried simply stopping for a moment, taking a deep breath, and really feeling the air around you? Taking just a few minutes each day to do something that brings you peace, whether it's a walk, meditation, or writing down your thoughts, can ground you in the present. It's those little actions, those small changes, that will gradually bring you closer to the life you desire. The most important thing is to act now. We often wait until everything is perfect, or until we feel confident enough to begin. But remember, perfection never comes from procrastination. It comes from small, consistent actions. From starting with small steps, from perseverance. So begin today right where you are. That is the only way to change your life. And you know, change doesn't always have to come from big decisions or dramatic leaps. Sometimes the most important changes come from doing something very simple, but doing it consistently every day. A small commitment today will guide you toward a completely different future. Don't let fear or delay stop you. Start right now. Taking action in this moment is the only way to take control of your life. So remember, the action you take today is the best preparation for tomorrow. Every second, every minute you live fully in the present is a step closer to your goals. And sometimes all it takes is that first small step to make the world seem wide open before you. This life, from the moment we are born, continuously teaches us about expectations from family, society, and sometimes from ourselves. We are taught to strive, to achieve accomplishments, to be the best, to earn as much money as possible, to stand out, to have everything that society defines as success. But few realize that it's these very expectations that are burdens, and we can never truly be free if we continue to chase them. The journey of seeking perfection is often the very thing that causes us to lose ourselves. We live in a world where everything is measured by achievement, material possessions, and fame. We are taught that we must have more, achieve more to be considered successful. But the truth is, even if we attain everything society deems as success, we will still feel a sense of emptiness if we don't feel enough inside. We run our whole lives always setting new goals, but true happiness comes when we realize that we don't always need to have more. Real happiness comes from letting go of unrealistic expectations and finding peace in what we already have. Letting go doesn't mean abandoning everything valuable in life. It means letting go of unrealistic expectations that society or we place on ourselves. We don't have to achieve everything. We don't need to be perfect in the eyes of others. True happiness doesn't come from owning everything you want, but from accepting what you have and living in the present without being weighed down by things that have not yet arrived. Sometimes, happiness comes from letting things unfold naturally, without trying to control or change everything. We constantly chase expectations, dreams that will never be perfect. And then, when we achieve those things, we still don't feel satisfied, we still don't feel happy. That's because we haven't allowed ourselves to stop and appreciate the value of what is already in our lives. When we let go of expectations, we learn to love ourselves and appreciate what we have, instead of constantly seeking something far away, something that will never be enough. Satisfaction is not when you have everything. It's when you understand that what you have is enough to make you happy. Letting go is not about giving up on dreams, it's about accepting that everything will come at the right time. When you no longer place expectations on a perfect future, you realize that the present is the most precious thing. You begin to live more fully, love yourself more, and no longer feel lacking for the things you don't have. We don't need to search far and wide to find happiness. It's right before your eyes in the simple moments, in appreciating the small things that hold so much meaning. Letting go doesn't mean abandoning your dreams or desires. Letting go is when you realize that happiness doesn't come from grasping everything, but from the freedom within your soul. When you let go of unrealistic expectations of perfection and accept yourself, you begin to feel peace in every step, in every breath, in every moment you live. Happiness comes from living true to yourself, accepting everything around you as it is, and not allowing external factors to disturb your inner peace. Change is the essence of all things. Everything in the universe is in constant motion, nothing remains static forever. Like this river, sometimes flowing slowly, sometimes rushing rapidly, but in the end, the water continues to flow, never halting, never struggling. We too, like the river, must learn to accept change. When we release our attachments, when we stop clinging to what cannot be changed, we will experience freedom and peace. Instead of resisting change, we must learn to flow with the current of life. Just like the water, we will find peace when we understand that everything will come in its own time. We often fear change. We are reluctant to let go of what is familiar, what we have built. But the truth is, change is an inevitable part of life. It is through change that we grow, that we renew ourselves. If we continue to cling to the past, to what has already passed, we will remain stuck there, unable to move forward. Instead of fighting change, we must learn to embrace it, like a friend, as a part of life itself. Remember, nothing is permanent, and change is the force that brings life to all things. When we open ourselves to it, we find true freedom. Like nature, we too need time to change, to grow. A leaf cannot turn into a great branch instantly. It needs time, it needs nourishment from the earth, from sunlight, and from the wind. Our lives are the same. We cannot rush, we cannot force things. We can only move forward when we accept that change is a natural process, something we cannot control. Let everything unfold naturally, and you will see that peace lies in embracing those changes. We must learn patience, knowing that each moment of change offers a new opportunity for growth. Change does not always come gently. Sometimes it arrives suddenly, like this waterfall, overwhelming and powerful, making us feel swept away and out of control. But it is in moments like these that we realize the value of remaining calm and centered. Life is not always going to go according to our plans, but change always brings new opportunities. Look at nature. The river does not flow backward, but each flow brings with it new seeds, new possibilities. Life is the same. If we learn to accept change, we will find opportunities in every challenge. Instead of seeing it as an obstacle, we should see change as the next step in our journey. We cannot control everything in life, but we can control how we respond to change. Remember, like the river, like the wind blowing through the fields, we too can go with the flow of life naturally without resistance. When you let things happen according to their own rhythm, you will experience freedom, you will experience peace without having to search for it elsewhere. Change is a gift of life, and only when you accept it can you truly find peace. We cannot control everything in life, but we can control how we react to change. When we accept that change is a natural part of life, we will find peace in the very changes we face. Let the river of life carry you forward. Do not resist, do not fear. Change is the opportunity for us to become better, to grow, and to find peace in every step of our journey. Self-awareness is the key to unlocking all the doors in our life. If we do not understand ourselves, if we do not recognize our thoughts and emotions, we will forever be swept away by life, unable to control it. Thoughts that are not recognized lead to actions we take without conscious awareness. Every action, every word, and every decision stems from subconscious thoughts, hidden things we don't even realize. And so, we must learn to be aware of ourselves, because only when we understand ourselves can we change the world around us. We often allow our emotions and thoughts to guide us through life, but if we are unaware of them, we become victims of our own minds. Emotions such as anger, anxiety, or ambition can lead us to make decisions that are wrong for us. That is why self-awareness is not just about understanding what we think but understanding the origin of those thoughts and emotions. We must learn to observe and understand our actions, and from there, we can create profound changes within ourselves. Self-awareness is not something that can be achieved in a moment. It is a process, a journey. When you pause, when you allow yourself to be still, you will realize that your emotions are not who you are. They are simply temporary reactions to circumstances. Negative emotions like fear, anxiety, or anger are like veils over our eyes, keeping us from seeing the clear path ahead. It is through awareness, through mindfulness, that we can lift these veils and begin to see clearly. Only when we understand ourselves can we begin to change ourselves. We live in a world full of noise, full of external pressures. We forget that self-awareness comes when we truly stop and listen. Sometimes you don't need to change anything outside of yourself. When you begin to understand yourself, when you recognize your thoughts and emotions, you will see that the changes outside of you will naturally take place. Everything in life begins with you, how you understand yourself, how you control your mind and emotions. We often search for happiness, for success, outside ourselves, not realizing that everything we need is already within us. Self-awareness is the return to oneself, the rediscovery of peace in a chaotic world. It is not about controlling everything, it is about understanding that you can choose how to react to everything around you. Freedom doesn't come from controlling circumstances, but from controlling your thoughts and emotions. When you accept this, you begin to see that true peace lies not in altering the world, but in mastering your own mind. Self-awareness is not a goal to reach, it is a state of being, a way of living. When you truly understand yourself, you will realize that everything you seek is already within you. When you no longer allow yourself to be swept up by negative thoughts, when you are no longer attached to the past or fearful of the future, you will find yourself fully living in the present moment. That is true freedom. Freedom from within, freedom from your own thoughts and emotions. Self-awareness is not a destination, it is a journey. It is not about finding something external, but about discovering yourself. When you begin to understand your thoughts, your emotions, you will see that you already possess everything you need to live a fulfilled life. When you change within, everything around you will change. You are the creator of your life, and self-awareness is the path that leads you to true freedom and happiness. In this world, we often hear that happiness comes from big things, wealth, power, fame, and the achievements that others admire. But few realize that true happiness doesn't come from acquiring these material possessions. Contentment and true peace do not come from having more, but from living simply and being satisfied with what we have. When you live in contentment with the present, you'll realize that happiness is not a destination but a state of the soul. We throughout our lives often chase after things that never bring us peace. We run after goals that are out of reach, desiring more money, more power, more recognition from others. But along this journey, we forget something important, that it is in simplicity and contentment with what we already have that we find true peace. Look at nature around you. Each tree, each stream, lives simply, without complexity or hurry. It lives true to its nature, and in that simplicity it finds perfection. Happiness is not a destination we must strive to reach. Happiness comes when we learn to be content with what we already have, when we no longer crave for things far beyond our grasp, when we stop comparing ourselves to others. The simple things around us hold the key to our peace. You don't need to have everything to feel complete. Contentment comes from recognizing what you already possess, being grateful for the little things, and living fully in the present without chasing distant goals. Simplicity is not about renouncing what is valuable, but about learning to recognize the small things with gratitude. When you begin to live content with what you have, you will realize that there is no need to search for happiness elsewhere. Every moment, every breath, is a part of happiness if you know how to appreciate it. Happiness does not come from what you achieve. It comes from what you feel and appreciate in each moment of life. We often seek happiness in distant places, thinking that once we achieve something, we will finally be happy. But in truth, happiness is not a destination, it is a state of being. It comes from living fully in each moment, in every breath, in the small things we often overlook. Happiness comes when you live in harmony with yourself, when you no longer desire anything beyond being thankful and content with what you have. Remember, happiness is not found in things outside of yourself. It is found in contentment and peace within. When you live simply, when you appreciate the small things, you will realize that this life is already full and perfect. And it is in that simplicity that you will find the greatest joy, the truest happiness in your life. This life is not a race to chase after grand things. True happiness comes from living simply, being content, and appreciating what we have right now. When you learn to live in the present, letting go of unnecessary worries and desires, you'll realize that happiness has always been right beside you in every moment. Let the peace within you be the inspiration to create a meaningful life. Don't miss the opportunity to find peace in every moment of life. Follow us to discover the secrets to living simply, with contentment and fulfillment. Live a meaningful life, not by chasing what's outside, but by understanding yourself and finding peace right here, right now.